This video is about the workflow in an embryology laboratory during an oocyte pickup. I remember how petrified I was when I handled my first ever case, so I hope this video helps all the junior embryologists navigate through their first ever IVF case. Before we dive into the protocols, we need to understand the difference between a flushing media and a culture media. A flushing media is a buffer solution, which essentially means that it can change its pH as and when required, while a culture media requires carbon dioxide to maintain its pH. A flushing media is used to handle oocytes and sperms outside the incubator in an open environment, while the culture media is used to culture the embryos inside an incubator which is supplied with dry gas or carbon dioxide. Hence, during calibration, we need to keep flushing media with a tight cap and culture media with a loose cap so that there is a supply of carbon dioxide to the culture media and no carbon dioxide enters the tubes when we have kept the flushing media. Some of the examples of flushing media are GMOPs and HEPs, and examples of culture media are GTL and one-step media. When it comes to culture media, there are two types, single step and sequential step. The preference in itself divides embryologists into two. Like the name suggests, single step media is used to culture the embryos from fertilization till blastocyst formation. And sequential step media are used to culture different stages of embryos in different media, like fertilization media, cleavage media, blast media, etc. Keeping all this in mind, let's get started. Day -1. We need to keep all the flushing media and culture media for calibration at least 4 hours prior to the case. So for convenience, we keep the media for calibration the previous day. I keep 3 tubes and 4 dishes for calibration the previous day. 10 ml of oil, 10 ml of flushing media, and some flushing media to give to the gynecologist when she's doing the oocyte retrieval. The 4 dishes are OCC wash dish, OCC pool dish, post denudation dish, and post ICSI dish. OCC wash dish and OCC pool dish are made by pouring 1 ml of culture media into the central well dish and overlaying it with 1 ml of oil. The culture dishes are prepared by making drops of culture media and overlaying with oil. And the culture dishes are post denudation dish and post ICSI dish. Day 0, or the day of oocyte retrieval. 20 minutes prior to the OPU, we switch on the heater for the stage and we clean the LAF using HPLC water or OOSAFE. Following that, I keep HIACE and PVP outside the refrigerator and prepare the LAF for screening process to begin. I keep few dishes for screening. I open a container and use that for pouring the excess follicular fluid. I keep a dish to pour the flushing media with oil overlay. When the gynecologist says that she is starting the OPU, I pour 4 ml of flushing media into a 60 mm dish and overlay it with 4 ml oil. This dish is used to collect all the OCCs that are retrieved. As the OPU begins, I screen the follicular fluid and transfer the obtained OCCs from the follicular fluid to the flushing media using a glass pasture pipette. The excess follicular fluid is poured back into the container, wiped using a tissue, and kept back for filling more follicular fluid. And this continues until the OPU is over. Then I transfer all the OCCs from the flushing media into the OCC wash dish and pipette the OCCs in OCC wash dish for few seconds. Then I transfer the OCCs into OCC pool dish, and OCC pool dish is incubated for around 2 hours. Once you kept the OCCs for incubation, you have a really important thing to do. Go have some coffee because you've got a really long day ahead. And when you're back, start preparing sperms for ICSI. You can use DG or swim up techniques and start with denudation. To be extra careful, I double dilute my HIACE. I take 0.5 ml of diluted HIACE and mix it with 0.5 ml of flushing media. I transfer the OCCs from OCC pool dish to the dish where I've put my hyes with flushing media. I pipette the OCCs for about 2 minutes until the cumulus breaks. Then I use a 175 stripper tip to transfer the oocytes from the denudation dish to the post denudation dish. Further, I will change the stripper tip to 145 micrometer tips and start with my mechanical denudation. Later, you'll have beautiful oocytes ready for ICSI. Following denudation, I make an ICSI dish with 2 streaks of PVP and few drops of GMOPS. I load the sperms in the PVP and start with immobilization and ICSI. And once the ICSI is done, I transfer the oocytes into the post ICSI dish and wait for them to fertilize. And that is the end of an OPU.